Hello gamers and gamettes, what is going on? My name is Tanek127 and welcome back to another video. And guys, I know you all have been waiting for this one to hear my thoughts and opinions on it. And welcome to my Eternal Kingdom Battle Keep First Impressions. Now, if you don't know what Eternal Kingdom Battle Keep is, it is a MMORPG that was known as Project Eternal about 2 or 3 years ago and was originally announced as a Nintendo Switch and mobile cross-platform MMORPG. Since then, things have changed. The game got renamed. It has been released on PC, on mobile. It's not available yet via Steam, and it just recently released on PlayStation 4 and 5. Unfortunately, from what I know, the only versions that have crossplay are the PC and mobile version, if I'm not mistaken, or those servers might be separate as well. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't got a chance to play those versions of the game. But I do know that the PlayStation version does not have crossplay, so I did accidentally say that in my beginner's guide. Hopefully some of you guys that watched that guide come to see this video. I do want to correct that mistake. The PlayStation version does not have crossplay. However, it is open region, so players from, all different areas can play together. Right now, the North American players and the Japanese players, they all play together on the same server. So I do think that's a plus, especially for PlayStation, because that is a rare thing. But anyway, guys, I want to go ahead and talk about my first impressions about this game and let you guys know if it's as bad as the world claims it is. Because if you go look at reviews and gameplays on this game right now, if you go watch a bunch of first impressions on YouTube, you'll see nothing but creators smashing this game back to back. So I personally think unless it does something crazy to rebuild its reputation, in my personal opinion, I don't even think the game's going to last long. And that's just being realistic, because it gave so many people such a terrible first impression that everyone just smashed it. But in all honesty, that's kind of the problem with a lot of the impressions out there on the game, is a lot of people didn't spend too much time with it. Me personally, I have about, I'm going to say maybe 40 or 50 hours into it right now. I'm currently roughly close to level 20, and that's because I've been running around doing a lot of side quests, exploring a bunch of mechanics of the game and stuff like that. I know that sounds like a lot of hours just to be level 20, but I wanted to make sure, I looked around in this game thoroughly and in depth before I, just went ahead and cast a judgment. So, is Eternal Kingdom Battle Peak as bad as the world says it is? Not necessarily, and that's one reason I'm supplying the gameplay I have right here, right now, because what I'm going to show you guys in my video compared to the other videos out there, I'm going to show you guys actual dungeon gameplay. I'm going to show you guys something different. A lot of the other videos out there on this game is just people running around the open world talking about how terrible the experience is and stuff like that, and that shit's boring. I'm going to be honest with you. It's typical open world MMORPG questing. You'll see a world boss every here and there, and you don't want to know that shit. You know how that goes with every MMO. You want to see in-game mechanics. You want to see dungeons. You want to see some group play. You want to see bosses. So that's what I have here for you. Unfortunately, these are daily runs, so people of high level can just jump into your dungeons and pretty much carry you through them. So that's what you guys are going to be seeing in this gameplay. But yeah. Anyway, I know it's been taking me a while to to get into the meat and potatoes of this game. So first off, what is Eternal Kingdom Battle Keep? Like I said before, at heart it's a mobile game. So I'm going to get that straight to you guys out of the way. There's a lot of mobile BS in here. There's auto attacking in here. There's auto combat. There's auto questing. You can even buy your way through some of the questing. There is some ugly pay to win nonsense in this game. And disclaimer, I am a guy who hates mobile games. Keep that in mind when I'm making this video. I cannot stand mobile games. I think they are the most predatory, monetized thing on the planet, and they make companies like Activision and EA look like fucking saints. Just so you guys know, I'm not crazy about mobile games at all. But my biggest issue with mobile games, it's not the fact that, they're on mobile. It's the fact that the developers behind them are very closed-minded, because they only think about two things: the mobile platform and money. They don't like to expand or do anything else. Now, that's one thing I'll give the team behind this game. They are trying to put it on as many platforms as possible. But with that being said, that's also kind of where they messed up. This game would have benefited so much better from the game's original plan. And I'm not saying, you know, for people who like having it on PlayStation that it shouldn't have been on PlayStation. But this game honestly would have worked better and been taken better and would have been better received if it had launched how it was originally planned to, as a cross-play Switch and mobile title, because mobile players don't really have too much of a problem with this kind of monetization. They're used to it in their games, and Switch players do not mind getting ports of mobile experiences. So this game probably would have been received a lot better if the developers had stuck to their original vision and plan with this game. But speaking with that, that also goes into another thing that honestly annoys me with the game. No crossplay. And especially when they went to go ahead and release this console version of it, knowing the game was already being poorly received, why would you not implement this game with crossplay when it has the same mechanics and systems across all three platforms as on? The game is the exact same experience across PlayStation, mobile, and PC. Even the PlayStation version uses the PC's interface, for crying out loud. That's one reason the UI isn't too great in this game, because you'll have like a hotbar. As you guys can see, my hotbar is right there in the center. None of the buttons for the attacks are even labeled on the hotbar, because this is basically ported straight from the PC version. Now, on the bright side, if you're playing on PlayStation 5, I'm not 100% sure about PlayStation 4, you can bump the graphics of the game all the way up. You can bump the maximum viewed players. You can pump up all that crap, and the PlayStation 5 won't even budge. So for a mobile game, it does look, you know, from a graphical and cosmetic point, it does look pretty good. The music in this game is alright. The story, I'm not going to lie, there really isn't too much to there, but the combat is pretty fun. The only thing that makes the combat really frustrating is, like I said, it's the hotbars don't have button labels. Like, for example, you know when you play Final Fantasy 14, you have your hotbar down there, and it'll tell you, you know, triangles for this attack, or squares for this attack, X's for this one, or hold L2 and X for this attack, None of these buttons are labeled at all. And I said to myself, all right, you guys are giving this to controller players. Like, at least with, you know, a PC player, they know they have to click on a certain icon. They don't really need labels unless, you know, they're mapping their hotbar to a keyboard. But most PC players are probably just clicking on the icons for whichever attack that they want to use, and by the symbol, they probably know which attacks are what. And that's fine. As controller players, we know which attacks are what, but we don't know which button corresponds to which attack. And that was another thing frustrating about this game. I had to go in and rebuild this whole control scheme just to make this game comfortable on controller, which was another silly thing that these developers did. It's literally like they took the PC version of it and just slapped the controls on wherever they thought would work somewhat. Like, it's like no thought went into this game's control scheme whatsoever. Now, another little issue that I do have with this game that I noticed is there really aren't any raids. You know, none of the dungeons go above 5 players, which I find kind of silly, because the game has an option where you can see up to 100 players on the screen at a time. So y'all didn't think it was a good idea to add even a 8, 10, 15, 20 man raid? There are world bosses and things like that. But then again, the game is so dry because they didn't add any crossplay to any of these versions, which I have no idea why. It's hard to do, you know, any of the group activities and stuff like that in the game. And that's due to two things. One, the game's very bad first impression that it gave to content creators and press. And number two, the developers deciding not to implement crossplay for whatever silly reason they went ahead and decided not to do that, which I still can't understand to this day, especially after how the game was initially received. Me, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to play the PC version or the mobile version to give you all my first impressions off of that, because I was waiting for the PlayStation version of the game. Originally, I was waiting for it to come on Switch until I recently learned that, you know, their plans were PlayStation. Now, another thing about the game is I do believe like one of the art directors from Final Fantasy 14 or somebody on the art team from 14 is doing work on this game, and it tries to take a lot of inspiration from 14. Like, that's obvious when you play it. Down to the dungeon style. You can even tell the format of the dungeons kind of look reminiscent of Final Fantasy 14 in a way. You can tell that a lot of the game's cover art and stuff like that is reminiscent of Final Fantasy 14. The problem is, right, what they decided to do was they decided to copy Final Fantasy 14's style in here, but they didn't go ahead and copy any of the game's like benefits or special features or things that, you know, make 14 unique and special for players, and things that, you know, make the game real easy, you know, for console players. Or I'm not gonna say easy, but, you know, convenient and stuff like that. They didn't take any of those quality of life improvements and things that 14 have done, and they didn't stick any of that in here. They were literally just, you know, like, hey, let's try and make a mobile version of something that looks similar to 14 and put it on as many platforms as they can. When they missed one of 14's biggest features, again, crossplay. I don't know why, because the thing is, right, Eternal Kingdom Battle Peak, besides, you know, the dumb mobile microtransactions and their silly mechanics with the UI, there's actually a somewhat decent game under all this. But a lot of the silly decisions that, you know, they've made in development of this, it's really hard to recommend for anybody. It's not terrible, but in the end, like I told you, if you're going to play this game, the first and foremost thing you're going to want to do is wipe the control scheme completely clean and rebuild your own controls for it. I'm going to be honest with you. The second thing you're going to want to do is, obviously, if you're not crazy about pay to win, I wouldn't play it. Now, in all fairness, I will give them this one thing. For a mobile game especially, the pay to win is not forced on you. Everything there is optional. The game doesn't even try to throw microtransactions in your face every day. It literally has a gacha system for outfits. Now, granted, which is another dumb thing, some of these outfits give stat advantages, which is really, really stupid. Again, I don't know why, but that's how mobile players like their games. There are some instances where you can buy a pack that'll give you like level 30 gear and stuff like that, and I think there's a few XP boosters and that's about it. But the thing is, right, the pay to win in this game is weird. You can skip quest, you can get level up to like level 30 or 40 gear, but it's all stuff that just helps you progress through the story of the game and get to the end game. There's no pay to win that helps you with end game or gives you anything that's going to matter towards the end of the game. It's like the game's trying to just rush you through it to get to the end stuff, which is good. And I will say that could be a smart tactic on their part in a way for people who just really want to zoom straight to end game and do that stuff. Because when you watch the game's dev streams, that's all they're really doing is showcasing the game's end game. Like, and that's why I was telling you guys, there's not really too many reliable impressions out there on this game, because you have content creators who went through the first couple hours and are just showing open world crap and what they don't like. And then you have the devs who are showing nothing but end game fun stuff. Nobody's showing you, you know, like what's in the middle, what's towards what goes in between towards the end game grind and stuff like that. Like, nobody took the real time to look at the game in depth and show you what you got to get through to, you know, point A to point B. Nobody shows that journey in the middle. And that's what I'm hopefully doing in my video. But like I said, guys, Eternal Kingdom Battle Peak, there's a decent game under the shell of this. It's just, there's a lot of bullshit on top of it. And, you know, it's up to you, honestly, whether you want to deal with it or not. Now, is it a new MMO free to play, something for you to do? Yeah. You know, will the game get constant updates? It seems like it has been so far. But judging by the reputation that the game's already garnered, I'm just not sure how long this MMORPG is going to last. I'm going to be realistic of that. Me personally, I'm not even getting my hopes up on this game because so many people have already bashed and thrashed it. And unless, you know, they do something drastic or make some serious moves to start, you know, like merging more to the player base and stuff like that, you have a bunch of separate versions on a bunch of separate platforms of the same exact thing that really could be something more if they just brought them all together and made some decent UI changes. Like, there's not a lot that they would have to do to actually make the console version of this decent. And that's honestly the sad part. But anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Y'all enjoyed today's video? Smash that like button. I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace out. Have a good one.